expensive camera setup today. This is Hawkesbury Junction. There's the boat, there's the sort of the junction. And I'm moored up there because I'm going through this little lock. When I say little, it's the size of a boat. It's shallow. So I think they call these stop locks. And this is where the Coventry, is it? Joins onto the Oxford. That is the Oxford. So, which is the lower water level. They look about the same. Is it ready to open? Yeah. I think it's about a foot. You can see from the level of the water mark. It's only about a foot deep. So I'm going to have to fill it once the boat's in. So the Oxford is the one that's at the slightly higher level. What does it say still there? If I'm going to fill it... Anyway, my brain isn't working today. Right. It's a crazy time to be setting off because it's gone midday. I don't know exactly the time, and it's what the hell is it? It's mid-November. So just untie this and let's get in there. So it's getting dark early anyway. So what I'll do, I'll put the windlass in my belt, which is where it usually goes when I'm doing locks. The problem usually is there isn't a lot of room in that belt, as you might have noticed. So let's get the front end off. Let's get going. There we go. Yeah, so it's a late start, but I'm not going far. Late start, but I'm not going far, so it's all okay. There's the famous Greyhound pub. I've been in a couple of times for a few beers, and it is a nice little pub. In fact, I went in there with Trev before our visit into Coventry, I think it was. But anyway, nice little pub. It's got a decent reputation for food as well, but I didn't try it. It certainly was nice. I ate in there about a decade ago, as I say, on my one trip that I did to the Ashby. But it made a bit of a mess of the entry there. Bounced off the bank a bit. Considering I'm going slow as hell, I'm not doing a very good job. There we go. Not too bad. Bit scrappy. There we go, right. So I'll take the speed off in a mo. Yeah, so I'm not going far, I'm only going about half a mile down here. I'd rather move down towards Rugby, I think. I've done Coventry. Right, there we go. So, let's fill this thing. This was the very first canal lock I did. In fact, the only lock I did before I got my boat. because I came through here in the hire boat with my ex when we were heading for the Ashby. This was our route. Okay, let's get this paddle open. The little thing, the catch isn't there, so let's do that. I'll just give the boat a couple of minutes to rise up, hopefully not long. Single paddle, oh, is that one? What is that? Let's see if this gate's ready. Blimey, that is the fastest lock I've ever done. It's already full. Okay, so let's get this open. Drop that paddle back down. As I say, there's one at the end of the big tunnel, at the end of the Bridgewater Canal. What's that huge tunnel? You know the one I mean. And they're only ever, that one's even shorter. That one's about 3 inches or something. In fact, it was level. Anyway, let's get that. I'll leave the catch on. So I've got to pull up somewhere. Yeah, there's a little landing I can get to. It's going to be a hassle, but don't need the windlass now. Just need to come back and shut this gate. I wonder if I can hold on to the boat with a rope, so I don't have to pull over. I wonder. Hiya. Right. I'm going to try and close this gate with the boat staying still. So a bit of reverse, slow it down a bit. Doesn't need to be a lot. I basically just need the boat still. That's all I need. Still as possible. There we go. And out of this lock. So let's... There we go. I just need the boat to be still for long enough for me to close this gate. So let's, I wonder if I can drag the boat. It's the back end I want in as much as anything else. There we go. There we go. Right. The boat just needs to hover here. Oh no, a bit further out. I've not let myself enough room. So get the thing a little bit further out. I could wrap the centre rope actually around that little bollard there. There's no foot traffic, so it should all be kosher. There we go, and clear the gate. Let's put a couple of loops around here. There's nobody about. There we go. Alright. It's just a bit of a pain, because the other thing is the lock landing, the proper one, is actually on that side. So I would have to go right down the far end of the lock, walk around, and then close this gate. To get the gate closed, I've got to walk all the way round. I think there's a lock landing there, there's a bollard, but it's fenced off. So I don't know, they're working on it or something. So there we go. There's only one paddle on this lock, unless that's one, which I doubt. So that's it. The gate is closed, that gate's closed, and the paddle's down. There is a paddle at that end, but I didn't touch it because it was the lock was empty. So we're good to go. The bow is sort of jammed in. This is a bit unfortunate. The bow's jammed in against this workboat here, which a little bit of a pain, but we'll see. So if I pull the boat back, I might be able to just push off. Just need to get enough of a shove on the front end to carry it out. That's the thing. So yeah, the boaters will be looking, thinking, what's he doing? Moving it like whatever it is, 1 p.m. Well, I'm only going half a mile, maybe a mile, so. Right, here we go, boat's in. So I've got to give it a good enough shove to get out past that boat. Okay, let's go. There's no contrary winds to worry about, so you can see there, that's moving well. So, let's go. There we go. Just well clear there, see? No, is that a water point? I was wondering if it's a lock landing or what. No, I'm fine for water, yeah. Why, is it broken or?
No, but I need to do my boat, so...
Yeah, no.
Is that all right?
You're all clear. I'm pressing on for a little ways, so. I just filled up, to be honest, round the corner. Yeah, I'm moving on a bit to the next, where the big road crosses down the loop. I've not been there before, but what's it, are the moorings there usually, or?
I don't know. I don't travel far.
Yeah.
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 I've been to the Canal base. I've only been local.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm at work full time. I've got to start, and all my friends are in CC.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a job.
Local connections, you've got no option, you know. I mean, to be honest, I'm lucky enough I retired a couple of years ago. But I really sympathise, you know, with the, and not only that, but how do you move far enough to keep them happy?
So I've got a permanent work. I'm a bus driver in Coventry. So
Right.
but it's coming 17 days in a row.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to move my boat.
My heart's breaking already, don't say anymore.
The job's horrible.
Anyway, well listen, have a nice afternoon. I'm
Bad at my work.
oh, take care, bye bye. You too. Oh no. I feel awful now. The lady there is a bus driver in Coventry. She lives on a boat here, one of these boats. I think this must be. Oh, she'll have a permanent mooring. That's what it's about. I thought she was saying she was a continuous cruiser and working in Coventry, and I was thinking, wow, you know, that's challenging, isn't it? Keeping your movement pattern acceptable to CRT. You know, and going in to do shifts all hours of the day and night, she was saying as well. Sounds very little fun. As I say, you really have got to stop and think. If you're lucky enough that you could retire a year or two early, you've really got to stop and think and, you know, have a thought for the people who have got to carry on for a few more years. But we'll see. I mean, you know, you never know with the way things go. I mean, touch wood, you know, touch wood, I don't have to go back to work. So this is my first time on this canal in a decade. Oh no, I came through here 4 years ago when I first got the boat, sorry. I did come through, but I just cruised on through, I didn't stop. The time I moored here was with the ex on our canal hire trip. And we visited absolutely lovely food. I must admit, I was very impressed with the greyhound. Now this is a good mooring. If there were rings or something easier, there probably are rings, I'll bet. I just can't see them. But anyway, I can't see them, so you know, on pins it would be nice. You know, I talk about pins like it's a fate worse than death. Most people moor on pins without even thinking about it. It's just because I'm such a hopeless idiot at practical tasks. Right, so this short little stretch, I've only done about a third of a mile, and I've only got about another half a mile to go. I could actually just put the foot down. We've had 2 or 3 boats go past this morning, so it's picked up a little bit from what it was when I arrived here 2 days ago, was it? It's picked up a bit anyway. Yeah, 14 days. It says 14 days free mooring. Like they're all free. Why is that? It's an odd word to use, isn't it? The word free has crept in. Like the mooring you pay for, or at the moment you do anyway, as part of the your license agreement, your license fee. You pay to moor on the normal stretches of towpath. So to say it's free mooring, the thing with boats is you always sort of you're inclined towards conspiracy theorism, if that's a word. Like, why would they say free? Are some places now going to be charged? Is that what's going to happen? And I've heard people suggest that popular mooring spots in towns like Chester or Nantwich, you know, the sorts of the honeypots people call them. I'm not so sure Nantwich is worthy of the name honeypot. It's not. Listen, it's a perfectly nice town. I'm not slagging Nantwich off, so you know, don't come at me, bros. But yeah, you always think, oh, now if they're putting the word free on signs, does that mean some of them are going to be paid? But I think it looks like it's not a particularly new sign, that one. So I'm sure it's just nothing sinister. Anywho, I might just get a couple more revs going. No boats moored down here. I think there were so many boats here in 2013. I think we were sort of here somewhere. Well, certainly on the corner. The line of boats went all the way back. It's just a massively busy place. The junction of the Coventry Canal and the Oxford Canal, you know, it's a major junction for boat traffic, hire boats and owner boats in the summer. And the line of boats sometimes does run all the way back round this bend and along here. Because I remember walking past, this is going to sound weird, but in 2013 when I moored with the X, I remember walking past this power station thing. It was dark because we were on the way to the pub and we'd arrived a little bit late. But I remember this. So for us to walk past that, we must have been right the way back here. So yeah, that was, and it was a solid line of boats. There were no gaps. And that was 2013. People talk about the explosion of narrowboats, in the numbers of narrowboats and, you know, and all that. And I don't know, you know, maybe there has been. Look at that. You know, maybe there has been. Well, the numbers have gone up because I remember reading it somewhere on an internet forum where they sort of, from the guy who states facts, you know, who actually does his research, and he was saying it's gone up. It used to be mid-20s and now it's mid-30s numbers of boats. That's not all liveaboards, by the way. The number of actual people who live on boats has not gone up by that much. But anyway, it was mad busy. It was crazy busy because we had to walk past this. When we sort of arrived, it was getting dark and we could see this big line of boats, and we thought, well, we're still a fair way away. We're half a mile from the pub, but like, we might as well stop, because if the line of boats starts here, there's a good chance you're not going to get a mooring any closer. You have your own little sort of rules for how you approach mooring, the issues around mooring. Every boater does it slightly differently, I suspect. Let's have a look. 1/5 of a mile now. No boat traffic though. Sorry, no moored boats though. So the journey south continues. Something in the water. I think that's a small log on the waterline. So I'm going to cut the prop as I go past that point. But this is a bit more open. There's no boats here, so that's a slight worry, but it's more open. Forgot to cut the prop, look. Anyway, got away with it. So, I'm thinking this might do. There's a couple of boats there. I think one of them's got someone on it, the other one looks empty. But there's a house here. So, you know, I'm not completely isolated. I wasn't really aware of theft or burglary from boats being a sort of a big issue when I was spending time in the northwest. But I think as you get to the Midlands and South, I'm hearing more about it as being a thing. So I'm just looking for potential rings here. There were rings on the other side. That was a big plus, but it was heavily overlooked by trees. There's loads of Armco. I suppose what I'm looking for here is a point near the corner where boats can see me approaching this way and that way. Not that we're going to have any shenanigans now. Be very unlikely. But there's some houses here. What seems to be a very noisy road. So I think this will do. Let's get moored up and get in on a course, the inevitable brew. So here we are. Welcome to the Oxford Canal. Bit of a lonely mooring this one, but it is what it is. Catch you later.